Good afternoon. It is 3:05, Monday, February 21st, 2022. The Education, Finance, and Policy Committee is now come to order. Good afternoon, everybody. We have 4 bills on the docket today, and Senator Cwodzinski will be happy to know that he has one towards the end. So with that, members, just again, a reminder, keep your F1 mute button on all times. Don't need it. Somebody over there? Got it? Okay, we're all good. I heard. Anyway, F1 mute button stays on. So with that, I'm going to turn the gavel over to Senator Eichhorn, and we'll get started. Thank you.
All right, Senator Chamberlain, welcome to your committee.
It's our committee.
There we go, our committee, okay.
The People's Committee.
The People's Committee. So Senate File 1525, the Education Savings Account Bill. Just for additional context, we did pass this, I believe, off the Senate floor last year. That's why we don't have any testifiers listed, but we do have 1525 up, and I think you have an amendment.
Yes, Mr. Chair, members, the A4.
And this is the first stop, so it's an author's amendment.
Yep.
To get it in the right order. So Senator Chamberlain offers the A4 amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion does prevail. So to your bill 1525 as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And as you mentioned, and members recall last year this was introduced, we had a long debate here and in finance and on the floor. So the goal here is to come through. We did not take testifiers today, so the goal is to come through here and get it to finance and back to the floor where we can have another vigorous debate, I'm sure. So with that, the bill basically says the money follows the kid. We want to make sure every child is successful. Not every school fits the needs of every child, so we want to give the parents maximum opportunity to have success for their children. And that's what this does, simple as that. One size doesn't fit all, opportunities for parents, and ultimately the success of the child and the strengthening of our public education system. It's all public education, charters, private, home, magnets, and regular public schools are all part of public education, and we want to seek the best opportunities for the kids that we can. And one thing that, so I'll leave it at that. Members, I ask for your support so we can continue the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Chamberlain. For members, there are, I think, some things in the packet as well. And I first up have Senator Uyghur with a question. If anyone else wants to get on the queue, it'd be easiest for me to see you, especially for those online, if you just put your hand up on the Zoom, and then I can get you in the queue. So if you could do that, that would be helpful. Senator Uyghur.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Senator Chamberlain, yes, we did have quite a discussion last year. I assume at some point that will continue the discussion. But we do have some number changes, and I'm wondering if Ms. Hofer could comment on the fiscal sheet. We had something this afternoon, and I had a chance to go through it partly, but what is the full impact going to be on our budget for the author's amendment?
Ms. Hofer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Senator Uyghur, to your question, a fiscal note was completed on the language in section 1 of the A4 amendment. The fiscal note is Senate File 9085. You'll note that this was a classified fiscal note, but it has since been declassified as it was posted for the hearing. Again, the fiscal note was on the language from section 1. The later sections of the bill update amendments to they update appropriations to reflect the November forecast as well as appropriation changes that are a result of the language in section 1. So you'll also have two spreadsheets in your committee packets for today. So the first one is an appropriation and levy change item spreadsheet that shows just the change items or just the appropriations and levies that were impacted in an incremental amount as a result of the bill. And then there's a second spreadsheet that shows the total appropriations and total levies after being adjusted for the November forecast and the items in this bill. So the fiscal note itself shows that for fiscal year 2023, there's a cost to the general fund of $7.4 million. So most of this is a result of MDE's assumptions that a number of non-public students will temporarily enroll in public schools for one semester in order to qualify for the education savings accounts beginning in fiscal year 2024. The rest of that amount is about $1.9 million, and that would be administrative costs for MDE to begin setting up the education savings accounts and work with a vendor to set up those accounts. In the tails in fiscal years 2024 and 2025, there are some additional savings to the general fund, but also some costs. And so I've broken those out for you to reflect the fiscal notes amount, which was $777,000 impact for the biennium. And on the change item spreadsheet, you can show how those are impacted for each appropriation. So there are a number of appropriations, lines 1 through, you'll have to excuse me, it's a Monday, some of my lines are out of order, but 1 through 10 on the spreadsheet show reductions. So those would be the numbers in parentheses in red. And so those would be reductions to appropriations for public school students who will transfer out of the public school system and into non-public schools under an education savings account. You'll also see that there's a small cost on line 13 for additional administrative costs to MDE above and beyond the 3% that they're allocated from the ESA appropriations under the bill language. On line 14 is the total amount that will go to the education savings accounts for the non-public school students. And then I do want to mention that built into these numbers in fiscal year 2025 is a 10% credit to the school district that the student left in the prior year. So it'd be about 10% of the statewide average general education revenue that would remain with the school district for 1 year. So additionally, lines 18 through 22 show the levy changes that are a result of this bill. So there are no actual changes to levy formulas or tax structures. However, because a number of formulas are based on student counts, and there will be a reduction in the number of students in fiscal years 24 and 25 because they're leaving the public school system to go to non-public schools, you'd see a reduction in those levies. And then on line 21, you'll see a slight increase in fiscal year 2024. That's actually associated with fiscal year 2023 and is a prior year adjustment for those non-public students who will temporarily enroll for one semester in a public school. However, that's credited in fiscal year 2024 just because we're already collecting levies for fiscal year 2023. So it has to be a prior year adjustment. So as a result, statewide levies for the 24-25 biennium will be reduced by $23.9 million. So Senator Uyghur, did that answer your question?
Senator Uyghur, do you have a follow-up?
Yes, Mr. Chair, Ms. Hofer, thank you. And just so I understand again, the impact of this for literacy incentive aid, public schools would get $1 million less in 24-25. For American Indian education aid, over $2 million, $2.3 million less. Special education, where over $4.7 million. Those are the numbers I'm looking at in the tails for 24-25 based on nonpartisan projection for what would not be going to public schools.
Ms. Hofer?
Mr. Chair and Senator Uyghur, yes, that's correct. So if you sum all of the lines 1 through 10, so general education aid through kindergarten milk, it's about a $178.5 million reduction in aids for public schools. And that $170.9 million would flow to non-public schools in the form of the education savings accounts.
Ms. Hofer, wouldn't that be a direct cause and effect of those children not being in the public school anymore?
That's correct, Mr. Chair. So as a result of the reduction in pupils, these pupil-driven formulas would see a reduction in costs.
Senator Chamberlain, did you have something to that point?
Yeah, I just want to make sure Senator Uyghur and members know it's not a reduction in aid. Those kids will be getting great services at other schools where their parents believe they'll get the best bang for their buck. So parents would decide to take the kids from the school because they believe the kids will be better served somewhere else for whatever reason. And so those children are not receiving less, they're receiving the same sort of support outside in a different school.
Senator Uyghur?
Mr. Chair, Senator Chamberlain, I understand your argument about choice. However, to state that the student would be getting necessarily more, we have no way of knowing. There's not a similar system for accountability. We don't require tests. We would not know the outcomes. We've heard various anecdotal testimony, but the fact is there's no way of measuring once that choice has been made. What we do know is that schools aren't getting enough funding, public schools right now. So, we've had this debate before and it'll continue, but, for the record, since you put out that, the literacy might be just as good or higher, et cetera, we don't know. We don't put those expectations, respecting that in the private system they have that right for choice, but we don't have the same accountability.
Senator Chamberlain?
Well, Mr. Chair and members, thank you, Senator Uyghur. They do have the same accountability, if not better. Senator Uyghur, I'd like you to tell me what's the statewide reading proficiency for third graders, and if that's increased in the last many years.
Senator Uyghur?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Chamberlain, we had a hearing on that, on the proficiency. I believe, again, on Wednesday, we're going to hear more and some potential impact on the reporting for World's Best Workforce. That said, there's a number of challenges, and I would just as to what we can do to improve literacy. Letters has been a part of that discussion, and there's also a number of other ways. But do we need to improve literacy in our state, throughout the country? Absolutely.
Senator Kunish?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Chamberlain. On this, you are reducing aid to the American Indian Education Aid, and I'm wondering why you would have pulled that out of all the other programs or funding sources and reduce it by that amount.
Senator Chamberlain?
Well, I'll say the same that I shared with Senator Uyghur, Senator Kunish, and Mr. Chair, that those parents are saying the school is not giving them what they need, so they're going to take their child. They have decided to take their child out of a school that isn't succeeding and meeting the child's needs and putting them in a school that they believe will serve that child better, in a better environment, for whatever reason. But the parent should have that choice to do just that, so all kids can have an equal opportunity to succeed. So the reduction in those funds are simply because that child is being put in a school where the parents believe the child will be better served. Now, if that parent believes that the child is being served adequately at the public school, that child will stay there. So there's no reduction in aid to all those categories, none whatsoever. By the way, I'll remind everybody here too that minorities, in particular children of color, are suffering the most under this system that has failed to teach our teachers how to teach reading, and thus the kids suffer for that and they pay for it. So our educators are shortchanged, they didn't get what they needed, and the kids are suffering for that. It's not an educator thing, it's a system problem. So unless and until we get that fixed, the parents should have options. And as you know, we have proposals to focus energy and resources on those, that very particular thing which is vitally important to all children is reading. And that's just where it's not happening today. So we're taking a multifaceted approach to this. One size does not fit all. And whatever the parent believes is best for that child, the parent should have the ability and opportunity to do just that. So there are no reductions in funds.
Senator Kunish?
Well, thank you, Chair. Senator Chamberlain, that didn't answer my question. My question was, why did you choose specifically to reduce the amount of American Indian education aid? Did you hear specifically? I mean, do you have records? Do you have emails or letters from American Indian families that are saying, my kids aren't getting the service they need, so we want to pull them out of public school and we want you to give us money so we can do whatever we want with it?
Senator Kunish, you might, I think we're going to go to Ms. Hofer. You might misunderstand because these are all kind of tied together, and Ms. Hofer might be able to help us out how that all works together. Senator Chamberlain didn't just pick one of these 14 categories to take from. They're all kind of linked, so let's see if Jenna can help us out with that a little bit.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It is his bill, and so I would like an answer from Senator Chamberlain.
Well, I'll go first.
Senator Chamberlain?
Mr. Chair and Senator Kunish, I didn't make the fiscal note. I didn't pull anything out. These are all tied together. I didn't pull anything out. And what's happening are about 75% of parents of color want the choice. I got the polling from year over year. So if anything's happening, the parents want out. They'd like to have the option to get out. I didn't do anything with this fiscal note. They made it. And these things are all tied together. So I hope that answers the question, but we'll go to Ms. Hofer.
Ms. Hofer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Senator Kunish. So the appropriations in the fiscal note are based on the statewide average general education revenue per student. And so all of the formulas that you see that are impacted on the change item spreadsheet are partially or fully driven by student counts. And so as a result, when MDE calculated the statewide average general education revenue, a portion of that is the American Indian education aid. So it's not that MDE had assumptions about a certain number of students enrolled in American Indian education programs would participate in education savings accounts. It's more about how the statewide average general education revenue is calculated and how it's based on these student-driven formulas.
Senator Kunish, go ahead. I thought you were done, Jenna. Go ahead.
No, just wanted to make sure that answered Senator Kunish's question.
Does that help clear it up, Senator Kunish?
It does, but I feel like there's something more that I have a question in my mind. I'm not exactly sure how to place it, but I'm very concerned about these funds going from general education, American Indian aid. God knows we have never fully funded our educational system, let alone our Native Americans and our Native American schools here. There's cuts to QComp, which is, one of the ways that we support our teachers, regular education, more issues with the long-term facilities and maintenance. Our schools have cried for years about not having the funding to do that. And then there's, issues to lunch, breakfast, milk, and if you're expecting that we won't have more children in the school because they are all going to leave our schools, we still have children there to feed. We still have children there to nurture. And the fact that we are defunding all these different programs in order to create some kind of a savings account for non-public schools, I just feel that really goes against our Constitution and our responsibility as legislators to ensure that we have well-funded, equitable schools. And this is very, very disconcerting to me, and I'm sorry that we got it just minutes before this conference, or this committee, because I I think we need to really look at where we are pulling the funds out of in order to do that for our public dollars, our tax dollars being pulled out of our schools in order to create savings accounts for families. So I have a big problem with this, and I think before this goes any further, there needs to be a lot more discussion about it, and I'd like to see some of those facts and those figures that Chair Chamberlain is basing all of his information off of.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question specifically to what Senator Kunesh
So
was
I've got you up next, Senator Isaacson. Did you have something to the point?
Yeah, I was to the point, but I can wait till if I'm next anyway.
So I believe Senator Kunesh is done with her question. So I mean, if you want to go ahead, you are next, and then I have Senator Cwodzinski after you. So go ahead with your question.
Thank you. So, thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Ms. Hofer, excuse me, when we talk about the line item that I saw, it specifically shows that funding is coming out of these areas. So it's defunding those areas, and it's going into a line item that would then follow the student. So how is that not a cut to those areas?
Senator Chamberlain, did you want to take that, or did you want Ms. Hofer to take that?
I'll take that. So what we can do, members and Mr. Chair, is we can have a hearing, or we can hold a class about basic K-12 funding. We can do that for all of you if you need that. Happy to do it. We got time. But you can say that all you want, but it doesn't make it true. In fact, it is false. So if you keep saying it, it becomes something more than just an untruth. There's nothing being defunded. There's nothing being defunded. No, I'm not done. There's nothing being defunded here. There's nothing being defunded. It's just a ploy that you're using to spin it. These are dollars that will follow children to the schools that the parents choose, so they can have equal access to success and opportunity. If they believe they're not getting it now, they have an opportunity to get it somewhere else.
Senator.
We are, again, year over year, the polling, the data, overall is about 65%, 2/3 of people support this, money following the children, and 71% of African Americans and another about 74% of Hispanic Americans support these ideas because they want the best opportunities for their children. The two biggest districts in this state, one of the two of the largest districts, St. Paul, Minneapolis, the children have been leaving in droves. St. Paul's got a $43 million shortfall because they lost students. Same with Minneapolis. So all we're doing here is saying, let's give parents a choice, and everybody's arguing against giving parents the power to choose what's best for their kids. Give parents a choice. I don't know why that's such a terrible thing for people to do. Give parents a choice. They're going to be the ones that decide that what's best for their kids, and they want what's best for their kids. I don't know why that's a problem for everybody. Give parents a choice, and any more comments about defunding anything is just an outright untruth, to put it mildly.
Senator Isaacson.
So if I can continue, Jenna, I was asking you a question. I said in the spreadsheet, I saw when you go across that the funding is being taken out of those areas. That's my understanding. So if you look at where it talks about Native Americans, their funding was X amount of dollars, and you can see in the tails that goes away, and at the bottom it gets reallocated to the educational savings account or whatever that line item is. Is that a correct statement, what I just said?
Ms. Hofer.
Mr. Chair and Senator Isaacson, so there would be reductions to forecasted appropriations for the forecasted programs that are listed on the change item spreadsheet, and there would be a new appropriation for education savings accounts under this bill.
Right, and so—
Senator Isaacson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, sorry. We take the money away from this part, and we're moving it over to this part, so now this part will have less money, which is what defunding actually is. And when you put it back into a new part, so there's money left overall, I get that. But we're taking out of a specific line item and we're putting it into a more general line item. Is that a fair statement?
Ms. Hofer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Senator Isaacson. So I do want to be clear that the reductions in the forecasted appropriations for these programs are a result of a reduction in the number of pupils that drive these forecasted appropriations. So it's not necessarily a line item reduction to these appropriations. It's a result of fewer pupil counts.
Thank
Senator
you. So,
Isaacson.
Mr. Chair. So that's a great question. So then where are we getting the money from that's going into the bottom line item?
Okay, all right. May I-
Senator Chamberlain?
I would prefer not to put the staff in the middle of a political discussion, and that's what this is. Senator Isaacson, I got.
Senator Chamberlain has the floor at the moment.
Sure.
The pupil goes into a school right now, the average general fund is right around general education revenue is around 10K, I think, is about the number, 9 or 10K. If that student leaves that school right now to go to a charter school or another school, even without ESAs, let's understand this, I'll go really slow. If you take that student out, that $10,000 no longer goes to that school. It either goes to another school, or that child is taken to homeschool or private school or somewhere else, and that money is no longer going to the school, period. You'll see a negative $10,000. So this is happening now. That's why they came to us last year and asked us for tens of millions of dollars to prop up, because they lost over 20,000 students in a year. A student leaves a classroom, leaves the district, or leaves the current public system as we know it. That is a decrease in $10,000 in funding and money that goes to that school, because that child's no longer there. It's based on pupil counts. A child in, the money follows. A child out, the money follows. That's how it is now, so nothing changes. Nothing changes. This bill actually does good by the state in the out years, so nothing changes in the current system. So you're trying to make quantum physics here, and it's just not that difficult.
Senator Isaacson?
Well, you are right. I do not know how quantum physics works, although I do read a lot about it in science fiction. I would say that what I'm trying to understand from Mrs. Hofer, so I get it right, I apologize.
Hofer.
Thank you.
Like,
Got it. So what I'm trying to understand is that these things have to be balanced, right? And so if my understanding is these cuts aren't actually just being taken out of that and put somewhere else, right? Then where is the money that's being added back coming from?
Senator Chamberlain?
There is no add back. So a child is in a school, and under this bill, a child is in a school. The parent says, I have a better place for my child. The child leaves the school. The general ed revenue follows the child. The levy does not. The school keeps a percentage for the balance of the year. The child goes to another school. There's no reduction. There's no add back. The funds don't go to the school because the school doesn't need it, because the child's not there. But the general ed revenue follows that child to wherever the parent takes the child. So I don't know how we can get, and really that's what happens now. So all the difference here is simply with open enrollment, that's how this happens. And all we're doing now is saying we're going to help fund that child, give the parent the choice and fund that child the way the parent sees fit.
Also, just for reference for the committee, this bill will, after education finance here, it'll go to the full finance committee. So the finance piece will also get hashed out there as well. Senator Isaacson, back to you.
Thank you. So, Mrs. Hofer, help me understand something then. I saw a fiscal analysis that was shown to us that I think came from nonpartisan staff that talked about the various areas where we're going to see the decrease in funding for whatever reason that's going to happen, and that it went off to a line item off to the right that showed a decrease as you go down, and then it showed one spot where there was a large increase that seemed to match approximately the decrease. Does that make sense? Did I see that correctly?
Ms. Hofer?
thank you, Mr. Chair and Senator Isaacson. Yes, that's correct.
So,
Senator Isaacson?
I think what I'm misunderstanding, and it could legitimately be that I don't get something that Senator Chamberlain does, and I'm ready to acknowledge that. I just wanted to explain to me, is because this is where we do this kind of work, is in committee. If the money that's leaving is because we're cuts of money we're not spending anymore, right? Then where is the money coming from that's going back into it again if it's money that's already a deficit? Because it feels like we're taking a cut and we're adding money someplace else. Is that right, or am I missing
Mr.
something?
Chair?
Senator Chamberlain?
No,
I'd
that's,
love it if one of these times Ms. Hofer could answer my question, because I'm not trying to be gotcha moment. I literally try
well-
to understand it. She's the expert.
well, I can answer this for you. There's no cut. Right now, if a child leaves us, if a child leaves us, if a child leaves a school right now, today, if a parent pulls a child out of a district school, that money drops, goes to zero. No more money for that child. That's how it is now. There's no change, nothing, zero. There's no add back, there's no reduction. This is a one for one. There's no add back, there's no reduction, there's no cut, there's no add. There's no added revenue, there's no cut in revenue. There's a reduction in what the school gets because you don't have the child there. It's a pupil count issue. If you have 10,000 kids in the district, each child gets a certain amount of dollars attached to that child. And when the child is not in that district and goes somewhere else, that's 9,999 children, and because the other child's no longer there. That's all this is. So it's no more complicated than that.
Mr. Chair,
Senator Isaacson?
I'll take this offline with Ms. Hofer where I can get an answer.
Perfect. I've got Senator Cwodzinski up next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I taught in a public school for 33 years, and during that whole time, from time to time, vouchers, education savings accounts would come up, and I'd wonder often about things like, and I don't have a question about the budget and the money and $10,000, $9,000 per child. My question is more about the individual child, because private schools don't have to abide by things like Title IX and the Americans with Disabilities Act at the same level as public schools do. And public schools take every child that shows up at their doorstep, regardless of anything. Public schools take every single child that ends up at their doorstep because it's the right thing to do. And my understanding of private schools is they don't necessarily have to abide by things like Title IX and Disabilities Act, and they can take children that just follow that particular tenet or doctrine of that school. So that's where I'm coming from as I agonize over this bill, Senator Chamberlain. But my question is, and I don't know if anybody can answer this, but eligible school defined on line 115 says a non-public school where a student can fulfill compulsory education requirements and is recognized by the commissioner or accredited by an accrediting agency recognized by the Minnesota Non-Public Education Council. Are religious schools eligible under this savings account?
Senator Chamberlain?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Cwodzinski, yes, they're all eligible.
So then my question.
Senator Cwodzinski?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Senator Chamberlain. So my question, and I'm perplexed, Article 13 of the state constitution, which I cite the section 1 oftentimes on the floor and in committee, but I've never once cited section 2 of Article 13, which states, in no case shall any public money be appropriated or used for the support of schools wherein the distinctive doctrines, creeds, or tenets of any particular Christian or other religious sect are
Promulgated.
Thank you, everyone that did well in English in junior high, or taught. So how does this bill not violate the Minnesota State Constitution's Article 13, Section 2?
Senator Chamberlain?
5 Supreme Court cases, U.S. Supreme Court cases, Mueller, Zellman, Wynn, and then 2 subsequent cases that don't have shorter names, Trinity Lutheran and Espinoza out of Montana. That's why it doesn't. All those cases cover what you talked about in the U.S. Supreme Court, and all those 5 cases has found that as long as the money is not directly attached to any particular cause or school, and the parents have the right to direct where those funds go. The state is not generally, in general, is not promoting any particular religion or cause. So 5 U.S. Supreme Court cases, and that's been settled law. That's not an issue.
So I would add that it's because it's a choice of the parent, not of the state. I don't know if that helps clarify it a little bit. If you have additional follow-up questions, go ahead, Senator Cwodzinski.
I'm not here to argue with the judges on the U.S. Supreme Court. It just seems, as a layman who can't pronounce a word in Section 2, that it clearly just seems like a violation. But nonetheless, I'm not going to argue with the judges on the U.S. Supreme Court. And thank you for being prepared so well, Senator.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right, back to Senator. Oh, do you have one more question? Quickly, and we'll move it along.
Are we discussing the amendment or the bill?
This is the bill as amended with the author's amendment. It was an A4.
Okay. I have questions about the bill then in general.
Sure, certainly. Go ahead. Senator Kunish.
All right. So I really went through the summary of this bill. And on the page, subdivision 3, Education Saving Account ESSA program, number 2, it says, so an eligible student qualifies.
Senator Kunish, do you have a line for us?
I don't, because I'm reading from the summary.
Okay. Be
But-
helpful for members to know where you're at so we can follow along.
2.9, I believe.
Okay, 2.9.
Okay. So the eligible student qualifies to participate in the program if their parent agrees to the following. And number 2 says, to not enroll the participating student in a public school or charter school, and to acknowledge that the student has no individual entitlement to a free, appropriate public school education from the student's resident school district. So that, to me, means that the parent is saying, my student has no entitlement. We're gonna let go our entitlement to a free, appropriate public education. Is that correct, Senator Chamberlain?
I think you're on the original bill still. 2.9 doesn't mesh up with what you're saying. It is in your packet. It's in all of our brown folders. So you should have the A4, because what you're talking about doesn't line up with what's in the bill. Doesn't line up with 2.9.
All right.
Mr. Chair?
Senator Chamberlain?
Well, it does, subdivision 3, number 2, on 2.17.
Senator Chamberlain?
Well, I'm looking at A4 of the bill as we adopted an amendment, and no, the parent does not give up FAPE rights. The parent does not give up FAPE rights. The FAPE rights are still there with the child because the school gets reimbursed for that. By the way, we have a solution for that in another bill too. The child doesn't give up FAPE rights. That's not something they give up, and it's not in this bill. So it's not here, it's not in the bill. The child still has rights to that as they currently stand. The public school, they work with the public school in the district to get those, or with the private school if the private school has it. But if they don't, they can work with the public school district, and the school district gets reimbursed for those, the same reimbursement they get otherwise. So whatever dollars were attached to that child are still attached to that child for that.
Chair?
Senator Kunish?
Okay, so it says that an eligible student qualifies to participate in the program if the student's parent signs an agreement, and then go down to 2.17 on page 2, to not enroll the participating students in a public school or public charter school.
That's not
And
the A4.
to acknowledge
Senator Kunish,
as part of the
Senator
agreement.
Kunish, the A4 was a delete all amendment. Staff might be able to help you out there.
Mr. Chair, check the chat on the Zoom.
So
which one is this? I'm very
Senator Kunish, this is from staff Anne Marie Lewis. The amendment removed that language from the bill that you're speaking of. So that's from our Senate nonpartisan staff. So from Senate Council.
Thank you. And when did we receive this?
What?
When did we receive this to review?
The A4 amendment was in your packet.
The
You didn't
A4
But when was it issued
It
for
was
us to
posted.
review?
Excuse
Mr.
me.
Chair?
It was posted by 11 o'clock this morning on the Senate website calendar under Education Committee.
No, Mr. Chair,
Senator Chamberlain?
this was put out Friday. Was it Thursday or Friday, Greg? Okay, all right. So it's been out there, and this is the new amendment, A4. You have it in your packet.
Do you have a question to the A4?
Well, you know what? The problem now is that I haven't had time to read this. I haven't had time to review it. I haven't had time to summarize it. I spent a lot of time on the original bill. And so I feel that it is an injustice for any of us legislators who did not know this was coming and have the ability to review it, because as legislators, that's our responsibility. And so I feel actually very upset that we haven't had time to review this. We had session, and then I had meetings and had no idea this was coming. And so I don't feel it is appropriate that we make any kind of a vote on this right now until we've had time to review it and summarize it and formulate our questions for Chair Chamberlain.
Senator Kunish, this was posted at 11:30. It was available for the entire committee and the public, and this appears to be the same language that you voted on last year. So to say you haven't had an opportunity is false.
Except we didn't have this. This wasn't the one that was posted for today until 11:30 this morning.
This is what I got at 11:30, Senator Kunish.
Right, but
Do you want to
prior
follow
to
up on
that-
that, Senator Chamberlain, or?
Well, Mr. Chair and Senator Kunich, this is the same language we had in the original bill last year that was debated in here at length. It was posted this morning. When we got the amendment, it was posted. 4 hours is not a very lengthy bill. And it's very similar. It's the same thing we got out of here last year, so.
Senator Chamberlain, is it a fair assessment to say that since this is going to finance and not the floor, you'd be willing to work with any member that has issues as this continues to move through the process?
It's going to finance, going to the floor. If people have suggestions to improve this so the parents have choice and opportunity for their kids, happy to do so.
Any additional questions from anybody?
Well, I do.
Continue, Senator Kunish.
Thank you. All right, I'm kind of getting lined up here with some of my questions that I have. So subdivision 4 under funding, the commissioner shall determine the amount to be deposited in each student's ESSA on first-come, first-served basis. And that shall be the statewide general or average general education aid per adjusted pupil. Does that mean that the ESSA amount that is the average general education aid per adjusted, does that become the formula number for each student?
Senator Chamberlain?
Well, I don't know if you say it's a formula number. It's a percentage of the average general ed revenue. And the school gets to keep a portion of that, and then a portion is also kept for overhead and management.
Senator Kunish?
Chair. Yes, so under that, the first come, first served basis, could you explain how that happens if a family, is well-informed and has a lot of access to social media or mail or anything like that, but perhaps there are families that just don't understand the process? How does this create equitable access to these funds?
Senator Chamberlain?
Mr. Chair and Senator Kunish,
Line
If you look-
3.1.
if you look under.
3.31
I'm answering your question. If you look on eligible student, there's a cap on it. So it's tied to the reduced meal and lunch program. Eligible students are under that cap. So this proposal does not include the super wealthy.
Senator Kunish, I would also refer you to line 4.19. Be subdivision 5C, Commissioner shall annually notify all students who are eligible to participate of the existence of the program and shall ensure that low-income families are made aware of their potential eligibility.
Thank you. That is helpful. Thank you. So Chair Chamberlain, could you define for me or tell me what the low-income numbers would be for families to access this? I'm a little concerned because there has been talk about removing that free and reduced lunch classification, and if that were to go away, how are we going to ensure that low-income families, and I'd like to know what a low-income family actually is, that they are aware of this?
Senator Chamberlain?
I refer you again to line 4.19. The commissioner shall advise all students and parents of the existence of said program. And on page 1, starting on line 1.19, eligible students are those that are in free and reduced lunch program. I do not have those numbers on top of my head right now, but it is federal guidelines for the poverty and who is eligible. So thirdly, if the program goes away, just like anything else, you could, any other law we have written in this state that's in one of those blue books, if something changes or goes away, you had to make adjustments. So we would make adjustments and address that then, but we don't know what's in the future, so we write laws based on what we know now.
Senator Kunish?
I do. I'm looking for, I just have to look on in the bill for the next question. 6.
So if you do have more questions, if you want to, if you don't have them readily available, you're certainly, Senator Chamberlain, I believe, would be more than willing to meet with you to take some of these offline and continue to work on it as it moves to finance. We got to get moving along so we can get to Senator Duckworth has 2 bills, and then Senator Cwodzinski has one as well.
Okay, just let me finish up one of the last ones that I have.
While you're looking, why don't we go to Senator Uyghur quick?
Go ahead, please do.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Chamberlain, I don't have any further questions, and the comments will be brief, but for the record, we did go through a number of concerns last year. Since there's new people that may be watching, this is televised, I guess, throughout the state, and for the record, Senator Chamberlain mentioned 60 to 70% of parents support this. And that could be based on a poll that he did. I want to remind people again that when we brought this to the discussion, the concept of vouchers to the floor last year, the Minnesota Parent Teacher Association, the largest parent organization in Minnesota, in existence over 100 years, with 200 chapters, they oppose this for several reasons. And there's a letter that is signed by the Minnesota School Board, and this is in opposition, and it goes through the concerns about voucher, about the funding that's needed for public schools, et cetera. But for the record, this is opposed, that we need to put more funds into public schools. This bill is opposed by the Minnesota School Boards Association, the Association of Metro School Districts, the Minnesota Association of School Administrators, the Minnesota Association of School Business Officials, the Minnesota Association of Secondary School Principals, the Minnesota Elementary School Principals Association, Minnesota Rural Education Association, Schools for Equity in Education opposes this. I mentioned the PTA, and there are others. We also have a strong letter from the Department of Education. I just wanted to repoint that out for the record, and I would ask for a roll call vote.
Roll call requested, roll call granted. Senator Chamberlain, do you have any closing comments to the bill?
I do. Again, this is a simple concept. We want to make sure every child has an opportunity to succeed. That is what this does. One size does not fit all for all children. It gives parents an opportunity to freely choose to take their child wherever they want to get the best service for that child and the best outcome, because there's a lot of great educators in this state, but the system is really messed up. And the parents should have the opportunity, equal opportunity, to get access to the quality education they deserve. And that is what this seeks to do, puts parents in the driver's seat. Now, I love the fact that Senator Uyghur lists all those lobbying firms and and organizations with all those names and words and letters. But 65% of parents, P-A-R-E-N-T-S, parents, support this. 74% of African-American parents support this. And 71% of Latino parents support this. So I'm sure happy all those other organizations who don't represent parents but represent principals and superintendents and the unions and all those others, I'm glad they oppose that, because this is about parents. So this is about the parents. It's not about those organizations. So members, thank you for the discussion, and we'll see you on the floor.
Senator Uyghur, brief to that point.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, but Senator Chamberlain, you challenged that the organizations I mentioned don't represent parents. I would submit for the record, the Minnesota Parent Teacher Association very proudly represents parents.
Wonderful.
With that, Senate File 1525, as amended by the A4, is recommended to pass and sent to the Senate Finance Committee. A roll call was requested. A roll call has been granted. The committee legislative assistant, Donovan, will take the roll.
Chamberlain,
Aye.
Icorn,
Aye.
Uyghur,
No.
Coleman,
Aye.
Cwodzinski. No. Duckworth,
Aye.
Isaacson,
No.
Kunesh,
No.
Newman.
Yes.
There being 5 ayes and 4 nays, the motion does prevail, and Senate File 1525, as amended, is headed to Senate Finance Committee. Next up, we have Senate File 2011, Senator Duckworth. And Senator Duckworth, you've got 2 bills up. If you want to grab your other one too, we'll just keep you up there after, and I'll hand the chair back to Senator Chamberlain.
All right, Senator Duckworth. Senate File 2011. I don't see any amendments here. That's correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay, what do you have for us?
Well, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, thank you for your time this afternoon. First before us is Senate File 2011, and this legislation would allow the Burnsville-Eagan-Savage School District to make a fund transfer that ordinarily is not permitted under current statutes. There's no new fiscal impact anticipated to the state or local taxpayers. The school district has a surplus of lease proceeds that would normally go into the district's operating capital account within its general fund. Under this bill, the excess proceeds would first be used to retire debt attributable to the leased property, and the remainder would be deposited in the unrestricted general fund. A further section of the bill allows proceeds from the sale or exchange of certain buildings to be used first to pay off related debt, and second to be deposited in the unrestricted general fund rather than in the operating capital account. It does have a companion bill in the House. It's a neighboring school district. You're going to hear some folks testify that I used to work with in my capacity as a school board member in Lakeville. And I would also like to invite Senator Port to share a few words. She is a co-author on this bill and also represents a good portion of the district it pertains to.
Thank you very much. So welcome to the committee. Please state your name, who you're with for the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Senator Lindsay Port. I represent the district that most encompasses the Burnsville School District, and I am happy to speak in support of this bill. The school district has done its homework on this to make sure that they have all their ducks in the row. This is just to allow them some flexibility on how to use these funds after they retire the debt, which they do first with that portion. Just some flexibility, especially as we're coming out of COVID, to make sure that they're able to put that that money to use to most help their students at this time. Thank you for hearing the bill.
Thank you. And that, you're Ms. Ryder, correct?
No, that's the Senator Port.
So who, what?
She co-author on the bill there, Mr. Chair. Next we have
What am I?
That's good. You just had a long bill presentation, Mr. Chair, so we'll cut you some slack. But next would be Superintendent Teresa
All right,
Battle.
Senator Port, thank you. Okay, thank you. So I know it's a pretty straightforward bill, but you got two testifiers online, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Is there one that you'd prefer to go first? I don't know that we need both. I don't want to be rude, but
Nope, understandable. The Superintendent of the district, Dr. Battle, Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry, Senator Port, you know.
Okay.
So,
He forgets my name from time to time, too, so don't take it personal.
Senator, Superintendent, thank you. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, who you're with for the record, and you can proceed.
Thank you, Senator Chamberlain. I am Dr. Teresa Battle, Superintendent of Burnsville-Eagan-Savage, District 191. Thank you, Senator Duckworth and Senator Port and senators. Yes, today I'm coming before you to ask for your support for Senate File 2011. The board has, school board has discussed the potential uses for proceeds. As Senator Port and Senator Duckworth explained, we're asking for flexibility to have any proceeds after paying bonds be used in the most flexible way. Most likely, we will use the funding for programming aligned to our primary purposes, our pre-K-12 pathways, and our early literacy programming. With that, I ask for your support for this legislative exemption. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. I don't think we need Ms. Ryder to go. Again, fairly straightforward. Are there any questions from members? I don't see any hands or anything. Senator Duckworth, any closing comments? Senator Port, any closing comments?
Just very briefly, Mr. Chair, there is some precedent for an exemption like this in the 91st legislative session. Senate File 4306, which did pass, was very similar. And again, just gives flexibility. And Mr. Chair, I think you'd be happy to hear that the Burnsville School District intends to use any flexibility regarding those funds specifically toward literacy, or at least a good portion of it. So with that being said, Mr. Chair, that's all I've got.
Thank you. I understand that debt's paid off first, and then that's the important thing. So thank you. Thank you, Ms. Ryder. Thank you, Senator Port. Thank you, Ms. Superintendent. With that, members, Senate File 2011 is, that's got to go to Finance, is approved, recommended to pass, and move to Finance. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No? All right, it goes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Senator Port. Okay, next up, Senator Duckworth, 3107. I don't see any amendments here. That's correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
All right, you may proceed.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate File 3107, the purpose of this legislation is to modify current law, which, in order to prevent conflicts of interest, prevents school board members from having a contract with the school district or employment with the school district that would exceed $8,000 in compensation per year. Current law also requires the approval of such contracts and/or employment by a majority of school board members. This bill seeks to expand the maximum earnings to $20,000 per year. This would update current law, which has not been modified since 2004, and would help with issues such as a shortage of school bus drivers, which many school board members could assist with. It's pretty common, especially in greater Minnesota, to see board members also serve as school bus drivers. I've got three testifiers. They've all been coached to be brief and to the point, Mr. Chair, and they're going to do a much better job than I at explaining how this will be impactful to their districts. So with your permission, I'd like to invite the first testifier to proceed.
Thank you, Senator Duckworth. All right, so pretty straightforward again. First, I have three here: Maya Olson, Randy Brewer, and Susie Rauch. So Maya Olson is up first. I got Maya. Is that the correct pronouncement of your name, Miss Olson?
Yes, thank you. I tell people, hi, I'm Maya.
Okay.
All right. So good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Thank you for your time and attention. My name is Maya Olson, and I am a member of the Bloomington School Board. I also happen to be a substitute teacher in the district for 26 years now, and I have been more than happy to help out my district during the substitute teacher shortage, a crisis felt across the state. I consider this an all-hands-on-deck situation Teachers, paras, principals, and parents have all let me know how grateful they are for covering classrooms. In addition to needing the help, they appreciate the fact that I'm making decisions in the boardroom based on actual experience in the classroom. Currently, school board members can be employed by their district with a salary cap at $8,000. I understand the reason for a salary cap. However, the cap has not increased since 2004, and the need for all hands on deck has increased greatly since then. It is also the first time that receiving a raise actually hindered my ability to help my school district, as caps do not increase along with pay increases. In the past, I have actually had to cancel teaching jobs that were lined up due to coming close to the cap. Speaking of money, this bill would help fix one of the most pressing issues in schools at no cost to the state. Stepping into the classroom can help make better board members, and board members who are able to help out their district in such a way would be less limited in doing so. The same could be said for bus drivers, coaches, or any number of other part-time jobs that contribute to the success of a school district. It is my hope that this bill will not only help contribute to the classroom, but that it will be helpful to bus drivers, coaches, or any number of part-time jobs that contribute to the success of a school district. Thank you for your consideration to support this bill.
Thank you, Ms. Olson. Next up, Mr. Brewer.
Yes, thank you. My name is Randy Brewer. I come from Winnemac Public Schools. That's up near between Crookston and Bemidji, straight north of Detroit Lakes. You know, our school is located on Highway 59 and Interstate 2 between those two cities. Our school district in the Northwest is facing a staff shortage. You know, it's at crisis mode right now. We need more staff to fill absent positions. Currently, school board members are employed with the school, but they're at the cap of $8,000. It's very little that they can do. We look at, in my situation, I have one school board member that was interested in doing a bus route. Well, he's got the time that he could probably drive an AM bus route every day for 173 days of school, where that salary would be right around $10,380, because we pay $150 a bus route in the morning, which is not a long time. Well, you know, if we would hire him for a full bus route, both morning and afternoon, that'd be about a $20,000 plus salary. So really, I support this ruling that we can probably get these board members to help out, whether it's substitute teaching, whether it's helping in the kitchen, whether it's helping as a paraprofessional, or driving a bus, you know. And if we look at what the present minimum wage is compared to what it was back in 2004, we were pretty much double that wage. So maybe we need to look at that $8,000 and doubling that as well to get these board members to help us out. You know, they're respected by our community, you know, and they're respected by our students and our parents. They voted them into office. Certainly they're there to help us out in any way they can, and they can get a little better idea of what's going on in the classroom as well. We also look at it's a no-cost piece to the state, and it'll help fix maybe one of our pressing issues, especially in our rural school districts up here. Being employed by the district can help make them better board members because they live the experiences and they know the needs of the school. So I support the increase of salary. I think this will help our rural schools, especially up here where there's less people, and we can get more people working with our students in the school district. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Brewer. And next is Ms. Rausch. Please welcome to the committee. Please state your name and who you're with for the record.
Good afternoon. My name is Susie Rauch, and I am from the southwestern part of the state, a little town called Lind, Minnesota. I currently serve as a board member. This is my second year. I'm also a parent. I coach basketball. I'm a substitute teacher, and I help out and volunteer in any ways that I can, pretty much. my journey started as a volunteer. I was volunteering to help the basketball team when the coaches decided that they did not want to coach any longer. We advertised for a new coach. No one would take it on, and they were going to cancel the program. And I said, well, I played. Let's give it a try. So I stepped in as a basketball coach, and I've been doing that for 3 years. And never was it on my bucket list, but it's been a blessing. I'm also a substitute teacher. I teach wherever they need me in the classroom. I, unfortunately, with the cap, cannot take on a whole lot more than substitute teaching and coaching. I do some after-school program work. Right now, we lost our head cook, and I feel with increase, I could help there, but after the basketball season, I've got a max of 12 days subbing in the classroom in the next 3 months if, with the cap. So now I will hit my 8,000 and probably go over. We just really have such a need. Janitorial has been out for a couple months. I mean, it'd be great it'd be super beneficial, especially to smaller schools that we wear a lot of different hats. Board members, I have found as a board member, it has been such an awesome experience being in the classroom, being with the kids, being within the school, seeing the inner workings. You don't realize how much effort your principal, your super, your business manager put in till you're actually there with them, kind of hands in the dirt, seeing the day-to-day activities. So it's been a great opportunity. And I would love to be able to help out more. And I can only imagine there are other schools that have shortages as well that could really benefit from this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Roush. So thank you, testifiers. Senator Cwodzinski has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Duckworth, if you want to, as this bill moves forward, if you want to get rid of that cap, I'd be willing to work with you on that. I think the more involvement school board members have in the school district, whether it's bus driver or substitute teaching or cooks or long-term counselors, to be limited by that original $8,000 was ridiculous. So, and I think I might feel that way about the 20,000 now. So if you decide to move that, I'd co-author that amendment. But I do have a question. Do you know what the original intent was of having that cap on school board members? I'm just wondering what the historical reasoning was behind it.
I think it had to do with conflict of interest or the potential conflict of interest. If they were to be an employee or drawing a substantial wage from the school district that they were also serving as a board member of, you could see where that could be potentially perceived as a conflict of interest. So it's trying to find a happy medium of allowing them to receive some compensation, be involved in the school and help, but not make it so that it's their primary maybe source of income, thereby making it kind of questionable potentially when they're making some decisions as a board member.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Cwodzinski. Senator Kunish.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Duckworth, would this be an hourly sort of thing, or is this a salaried? Could a school district salary a school board member for $20,000 with the expectation that they will pitch in when needed, whether to sub or drive a bus or help a school where they lose their head cook? Or is this an hourly sort of stipend?
Mr. Chair, if I may, Senator Kunish, great
Senator
question.
Duckworth.
The bill is authored in a way that would allow the district maximum flexibility. So it simply caps at $20,000. However, that compensation is structured, whether it be hourly or a salary, would be completely up to the district and how they structure that, so long as they don't go over that $20,000 cap.
Senator Kunish.
Thank you, Chair. So there would never be an expectation that if we are going to compensate school board members $20,000, that they are obliged to come in and pitch in at the school. Is that correct?
Mr.
Senator
Chair,
Duckworth.
Senator Kunish, great question. As a previous school board member myself, I could very confidently tell you no. I don't think they would be obligated or obliged to do anything. And I can also tell you that none of them are being compensated anywhere near $20,000 simply to be a board member.
Thank you.
Senator Kunish?
Thank you, Chair, and I would agree, Senator Duckworth, that the work that our school board members do is quite valuable, and we've certainly undercompensated them for way too long. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Looking good. Senator Duckworth, closing comment?
Mr. Chair, just appreciate your willingness to have the bill heard. As a board member and as a previous high school coach, had it done both at the same time, I likely would have been just at or exceeding that $8,000 cap. So I think this is a good initiative, and I'm hopeful that it will be successful. So thank you.
Yes, thank you, Senator Duckworth. Good idea. Smart things. We aim to get things done, Senator Duckworth. So with that, members, this one's going to go to the floor. So with that, Senator Duckworth moves that Senate File 3107 be approved and sent to general orders. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, got it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Duckworth. So with that, Senator Cwodzinski, Senate File 362. And Senator Cwodzinski, we're still waiting for a fiscal note, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll lay this one over.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair, and members. My name's Senator Lindsay Port, and
Well, I can't comment on that, but,
no comment needed.
may go ahead, Senator Cwodzinski.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, and happy President's Day, everybody. Haven't been able to say that enough today. And this bill before you today is Senate File 362. It would add a personal finance course for high school graduation for our students. This bill then come from my head. It came from a genesis of meeting a variety of constituents and people on the street. The first time I was made aware of this was when I talked to a parent who they wanted their kid to buy their house, and to raise his kids in the house he was raised in, but because of his college debt, he wasn't able to afford the mortgage on the house that his parents kind of wanted him to so-called inherit. And then I ran into another constituent that told me, and I love this anecdote, that when I was a kid growing up, we all saw our parents fighting over the kitchen table once or twice a month over who's paying what bills and what bills are we going to pay and not pay. And kids kind of learned fiscal responsibility and personal finance through watching their parents usually arguing once or twice a month over the bills being paid. And because everything's done online these days, kids miss that opportunity to be able to see that happening in their parents' kitchens. And so every time I happen to mention to one of my constituents that that we don't require a personal finance class in order to graduate, they look at me with this perplexed look on their face like, well, duh, that just seems like a no-brainer in this day and age. Kids need to understand things like on their bank state or their pay stubs, what is FICA and what's this insurance thing that I'm paying for, and why should I pay into retirement? I'm 17 or 19 or 23 years old. But all these things are things they need to learn in school, and they're not learning how to go car shopping. And when I told somebody I was testifying today, this weekend, they said it's interesting that they never once learned how to get an apartment. When they were 19, 18, 17 years old, no one ever told them these are the types of things you should look for in learning to rent. And so these kids, and then I told another parent recently about this bill, and she said, God, what is it? Faxma, what is it? That. They said that should be a full-on class in high school on how kids need to fill this thing out, because too many of them miss this opportunity for college and post-secondary money. So there's all these reasons for this bill, and whether it's good times that you're going to end up financially having in your life, so you learn about how to invest in the stock market, or if you fall upon hard times, so you learn about the systems that exist for financial support when you fall on hard times. And so there's a myriad of reasons why our kids need to have a personal finance bill in order to graduate from high school. And we do such a great job in our schools preparing mathematicians and scientists and historians and artists and all the other professions that we prepare our kids for and the things they need for a 21st century. But I really truly believe in my heart that we're dropping the ball on teaching them their roles in a robust, strong economy of the 21st century here in America. So I thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Chair, and I'll be glad to answer any questions because I'm just so happy to be here before 4:29 for once the last couple of years.
That's been totally up to you and your colleagues, Mr. Senator Cwodzinski.
Believe me, I did think of that today.
Well, you made a great defense for your position. Now, just for clarity, it doesn't say they have to do one or another. It says that finance could be an option, correct?
Right, it's either or, not and, must, or.
So it's not an addition, it's just a little more options to it.
Correct. Right now, we require an economics macro, micro level class to graduate from high school, and this would give school districts the option of that class, which is currently required, or a personal finance class.
Okay, thank you. Members, any questions? Senator Kunish?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just like to speak in favor of this bill. I remember when I was a high school student, we had an elective course. It was called, what did I say it was?
Yeah, you told me today.
I told you what it was. It was Living on Your Own.
Yes.
That's what it was. It was called Living on Your Own, and it was probably one of the most valuable courses that I took when I was in high school, because I left the little town that I grew up in and came to the Twin Cities, and it taught me like how to read a lease for an apartment, how to create a budget. Back in the day, we had checkbooks, and it taught us how to balance our checkbook every month. But it also taught us how to sort of ask questions and advocate. And I think in this day and age, when we are coming out of this COVID situation and students are looking to move on and perhaps even purchase a home or go to school and understand the huge responsibility of student loans, that this would be a really, really valuable course. And I understand that it is an elective course, and I would very much support school districts providing this kind of a valuable tool for the students as we go forward and rebuild this economy after this pandemic. So thank you for bringing this forward, Senator Cwodzinski.
You got a word, Senator Cwodzinski? Otherwise, we have another question for you.
No, thank you.
Senator Newman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Cwodzinski, I would just speak in favor of this bill. I think it's a good idea, and I will tell you that in my former profession, I cannot tell you how many people that I ran into and represented that they honestly didn't know what an amortization schedule was. They didn't know the difference between interest or finance charges, and they honestly didn't comprehend how quickly they would fall behind on bills and payments if they didn't at least make the minimum payment. And if they made just the minimum payment, it would take them 20 years to pay off a credit card. This is really a good idea, Senator.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Newman. Okay. Closing comments?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair, for hearing the bill, and I really appreciate it, and so thank you so much. And thank you, members, for listening and your and the support you may or may not, or you may give me.
We're happy to have you up there. So, members, with that, we need a fiscal note for this, so we're going to lay it over. Senate File 362 be laid over. It's done. So, members, that concludes the business for today. We will have another hearing on Wednesday, and I'm sure we'll all be happy and agreeable then as well. Thank you. Have a great day. We're adjourned.